Hey guys, it's Ciara Noelle, blogger for Majestic Culturista, podcast host of Just What It Is, and also host of A-List Conversations with Ciara Noelle. So today I'll be talking with three-time Grammy nominated, multi-platinum producer, D Bottz. He's worked with the likes of Maya, UGK, Fantasia, Letoya Luckett, and Natalie, and also gospel artists. Please help me welcome superstar producer, D Bottz. Hey, Bottz, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to have you.
And I want to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in. And I am so excited to talk to you about your music productions. But before I get to any of that, I want to get to know you a little bit more. So tell me about what you do, what you're working on a little bit now, and let's start with where you're from. Where are you from?
I'm from the great city of Houston, Texas, deep down south. Born and raised, representing the H always. Can't you know, I gotta put on for my city. Just been a producer for 20 years, worked with a lot of people, had great success, you know, been blessed to transition through all the transitions in music that happened. And currently, I own a studio. I'm in one of my rooms right now in Northwest Texas, Northwest Houston. Been here almost 8 years. Bottz World Studios. We've recorded the likes of Maya, Slim Thug, Beat King, Fantasia, Letoya Luckett. Wow. We've had a lot of people, come through and grace us and bless. It's just been a lot of people that come through. So I'm able to just work with a lot of people, and just been, like I say, been blessed to do this for almost 21 years. Currently, it's funny that we do this interview today. I have a single that just dropped with a new artist named Miss Delela. Okay. She's out of Bryan, College Station, Texas, which is like an hour or so outside of Houston. Met her on Instagram at the end of last year, and she ended up coming to one of my cookouts in Atlanta. Okay. And we end up doing this song in Atlanta. It features the rapper Titanic out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Shout out Titanic, who is an amazing artist herself. And it came together, and today it dropped. When I say I'm working, you know, you see my shirt. My shirt says, yes. That's like my famous phrase.
I like that.
That people, because, you know, a lot of people do a lot of talk. A lot of people do a lot of yapping. But over on this side, we work. That's what we do every day. So I've got Miss Delela's dropping. Titanic dropped a single last month. Mo Vickers from Houston has a single that's dropping. It's a pop record. It hadn't even officially dropped, and it already has 100,000 streams.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a lot. Little big BSGG, Lil Man. You know, I'm doing my cookouts. I got a cookout on deck in Miami in August the 19th through 20th. I'm shooting a video for my debut single. Of course, the tacos and that's all I'm gonna say about the song.
I saw the tacos.
Yeah. We just gonna say that. There's another, we're gonna keep it G-rated. So
yes, keep it G-rated.
Just man, if I had to go down the list of what I'm working on right now, it would be forever. Because, it's a lot of people trusting me right now with their vision and their dreams, and it's a wonderful thing.
So what was it like working with your artist that just dropped her new single, Pull Up? What was it like working with Delela?
Here's the funny story about it. She wrote another song to the beat. I did the beat from scratch for her, and she had another song. I think it was called like Gotta Go or something. I don't remember. But she was there in Atlanta. And when I do these cookouts, there are all kind of writers and singers and vocal coaches there. And so she was like, hey, I want to redo my song while we're here. And I'm like, okay. She's like, can you just take my vocals off and just play the beat and see what they come up with? So literally, we stripped the song down, took our vocals off, just played the beat. All the writers were in there kind of collabing. And 4 hours later, we came out with this hit. And it was a great experience. Shout out to Delela, the writing team of Brittany J, Brenda Lynn McKinney's on there, LaJuan Easton, Titanic, of course, she helped write. And I think that's it, Jay Kane, they're all the writers on the record. So it was a team effort. And it was definitely an experience. It's her first song. So
Oh, wow.
I've had the privilege. Yeah, I've had the privilege over this past year to have like between 20 and 30 people's first song, which is, that first song is your baby.
Yeah.
And so the fact that people are trusting me with that, their vision with that first song is cool. So working with her was awesome. She's definitely talented. She's more unorthodox as a writer, because most writers, will get on their phone or they'll start writing. She literally just sits there and kind of bobs her head for a while, and then she's like, "Okay, I got something." It's like, "You ain't gonna write it down?" And she's like, "No, I got it."
It's in her head.
It's in her head. And so,
wow.
Yeah, working with Raheem Devine is the only other person who I've ever seen that done with. Like Raheem Devine, many sessions we did, he never wrote, and it's like, wow. But I kind of equated to when I get ready to start a track, I don't know what I'm gonna play. Like it's just a vibe, and so it takes me sometime going through stuff. No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. Okay, that's the one I like. So I kind of relate to it, but it was definitely a great experience. We are actually finishing up her EP. She as soon as we finish this she's gonna be here today. So she'll be pulling up in the next hour. And that song is called
Pull Up.
Right. Yeah. So
her voice is pretty.
It's for the grown and sexy. So while you with your boo, your husband, your wife, your mistress, whoever you with, no judgment. Yeah. It's one of those songs. Yeah, it's one of those songs you want to put on your playlist. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes. Well, I definitely heard a little bit of it, and it sounds really good.
Thank you.
Her voice sounds amazing, and the production sounds amazing.
Thank you. Yes. I appreciate it.
Shout out to the producer. The artists wouldn't be where they are without the producer.
That's true. That is true. That's true.
And reading your bio, I know that you're a self-taught musician. So I know there's a few artists that we grew up listening to, like Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, and they got their start in church. So when did you first discover you had a gift of music, and who or what inspired you to become a producer?
Here's the story about that. I started playing drums when I was 4. My dad was a local quartet singer, so he was pretty known around the local quartet gospel arena. And what happened was one day he had a gig and the drummer didn't show up. I think I was 6 at this time. And so my dad was literally like, "Son, go get on drums for the gig." Like, because I used to be at the rehearsals, so I knew the music, but of course I didn't get to play because they had a drummer. So my very first gig, I was 6 years old playing drums. From there, I was a drummer. I kept playing. My summers was spent with my grandmother in Fort Worth, and her minister of music at her church was Kirk Franklin. So I have video of me and Kirk Franklin playing every summer. I was this little chubby kid with a high flat top sitting on drums, and he's sitting right next to me on keys. So
Kirk Franklin?
Yeah. Yeah, he used to be the minister of music at my grandmother's church.
I grew up listening to Kirk Franklin. He's like a family member to me.
Yeah, he's everybody. It's your boy.
Yes, he's my cousin. That's my cousin.
Yeah. Yeah. So I still playing drums. Hadn't picked up a keyboard yet. I literally started maybe toying with the keyboard when I was about 18. So the funny thing about how I really got my first start on keys, we was at church one night, and the pastor of the church was like, hey, Davey, the keyboarders ain't gonna be able to make it tonight, so you're gonna have to play keys. I'm like, what? I don't play keys. I play drums.
Right.
No, you're playing keys tonight. So I literally got on keys, and that was my first. I was like 18, 19, somewhere around there. I started taking serious about 21. I started working at the Guitar Center, and I started meeting different people. I didn't even know about producing. This is the crazy thing. I was just a gung-ho musician who wanted to play drums and piano. So I'm working at Guitar Center. Guitar Center is sending me to training to learn about software, learn about computers, learn about everything. I learned this keyboard called the Korg Triton. And I used to go on the board every day. Like when I was on lunch, I would literally skip lunch and just sitting there and learn it. I would just learn it. One day, the rapper Scarface from the Ghetto Boys comes in the store while I'm on this keyboard. And he's like, "Whatever you playing, I want that." That was the start of my production career.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, "You want what?" He's like, "That beat you doing." I was like, "What beat?" I'm just playing on the keyboard. And that's when I started learning about production. And then,
Yeah.
so still wasn't sold on
amazing.
being a producer. I was still playing at the church, making money at the church as a pianist, organist. And then I got my first break when I signed my little production deal with Rap-A-Lot with James Prince. They signed me. 2 years later, I did another production deal with Swisher House. And my big break came when I did Still Tipping On with Mike Jones. That was like, that's Bottz. That
Mike
kind of
Jones.
that kind of catapulted
Yeah.
me, you know. And then I just got a lot of local work. I started working with Slim Thug and UGK and Letoya Luckett. I got to work with all the H-Town people.
Mm-hmm.
And then my big hit came in 2006 with Natalie called Going Crazy. It was a pop record. That's right, baby, I'm going crazy. So that was the biggest
I remember
record.
that.
That was the biggest record of my career. It went to number 13 on Billboard, and it stayed on Billboard for 26 weeks. So half of the year, my name was on Billboard charts. So that set me up to learn the game. I ended up going to New York. Yes, and I ended up meeting people from Universal, and I did a little publishing deal with Universal. And so that's when I was just like, okay, you've arrived. You know, it's time to do your thing. And so ever since 2005, 2006, I've been, you know, producing at a high level. You know, millions of records sold, a couple of plaques to my name. So like I said, I've been blessed, you know, to just keep doing it and still be, you know, relevant. Because sometimes people who do music for a while lose their relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're still stuck in the snap beat age, and they sounding like Laffy Taffy or something. But, I'm able to. I've been able to navigate my way, and you know, and right now I've just been on. I tell people like the last year, the pandemic gave me the Midas touch because every track I try to do now, it's turning to gold. So
I know that's right. Well, you know what? That is so awesome. Like you sharing your story of how the elders of the church taught you how to take that leap of faith at an early age that set you up for where you are now today.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you know what? I feel like every producer has a certain sound, like, you know, it's them when you play it. Like if you play a Motown beat, you know, it's Berry Gordy's music.
Right.
So what's the sound you have that sets you apart from the rest?
The thing about me is I produce so many genres. So I don't have a particular, like, if I did all rap, then I'd have a particular like rap, you know, sound. If I did all, it's like, you know, when Timbo does a beat, because Timbo has a certain kind of flavor with his drums, you know. But the biggest thing people know about me when they hear my music is it's gonna have live instrumentation, you know, because in the day we're in where it's so much syncopated and samples, I'm still a guy who sit down at the keyboard and give you something fresh. You know what I mean? So I would say that would be my sound, fresh. I actually just that. I like that.
A fresh sound, a fresh beat.
Fresh. Yeah, it's fresh. It ain't sampled. It ain't recycled. Ain't no YouTube lease beat. It's fresh.
I like that. And you know what? I feel like you're right about that, because a lot of music today, it is syncopated. And, you know, people have like, you know, we want everything at microwave society, like at our fingertips. So we don't really like to take time to like, you know, work on like the composition of the song, you know, like, you know, we could just like curate it on microwave it. We could just microwave it.
You know, there's a microwave gumbo, and there's the gumbo where you let the roux sit for a day or two. I take the one that's sitting there marinate.
Let it marinate.
Yeah, I don't need the instant. Y'all can have the instant stuff. So I'm able to, you know, and people who come witness it in person are just amazed. Like they're like, wow, been around a lot. I've always heard that they've been around a bunch of producers, but nobody does it like me. So I think fresh would be, I'm gonna use that one. Fresh is gonna be my thing.
That sets you apart.
Yeah, I give you a fresh sound.
Yes, a fresh sound.
Yes,
with
ma'am.
New music.
Yep.
New instruments.
Yes, ma'am.
I like that. So what was it like working with Letoya Luckett and Fantasia?
I got to work with Letoya Luckett via her brother, Gavin. Shout out to GL Productions. And I've only been in the studio with her once, but he was working as her producer on her album, and he's not a big player, but me and him had done some work before, and he was like, yo, I just need you to play on a couple records for my sister. And so I was able to, I didn't record her, I met her. And I mean, she was cool. You know, she's down to earth, you know, had a cool vibe. Like I said, I only met her once. And so she was cool. Fantasia, I lucked up on that because I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I was in Atlanta. I forgot what studio we were at. I don't remember. But the studio had a piano in the lounge. And so we were working on one side of the studio, and I guess she was on the other side. So while we had a break, I went and sat down at the piano. And I'm in there playing, and I'm just playing, and lo and behold, I hear this melody coming from behind me. I'm like, it was her. Fantasia walks in the room. She's like, I like that. Yeah, she's like, I like that. And she's like, who was that for? And I was like, I was just playing. She's like, I need that. She's like, I need that. She's like, you here? And I was like, yeah. And
we end up melody.
Yeah. And so we end up doing it.
Melody.
Yeah, we end up going working. I produced a track right in front of her, and she was just like, wow. She was like, you are amazing. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, people don't understand when you work with certain people, like the song may never make the album. So it was a song that didn't make the album. But I mean, you know, the experience and the money was there, so I ain't tripping.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
The experience and the money, yes. Music and money, that's the universal language right there.
I ain't tripping at all because I got my check, so.
I know that's right.
You didn't make it,
you are funny.
People are like, man, we ain't heard about say shoes. It was on her label. I got paid. I met her. I worked. You know,
right.
They may record 30 songs and only put 10 on the album. That's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Yeah. You may or may. That's how the business go. I ain't tripping.
It is what it is.
One person told me on Clubhouse, I didn't see Fantasia, you know, on your Google. I say, the song didn't make the album. Oh, but you work with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how we know you work with her? Because I just told you. I ain't got to lie to you. Well, you know what I'm saying? I don't know you. Why would I? Right. I'm not trying to impress you. You can't even afford me. What am I trying to impress you for? So, yeah, she's talking about you.
I feel you. It's just what it is.
Right. You know, I ain't tripping on you,
just what it is.
Yeah. So I have the testimony. I have never had the diva artists. I've never had them, which is cool. You know, the ones cool. that yeah, because I'm an asshole. I didn't mean, Lord, I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to
oh, you're good.
My phone jumped. I'm not the best one to, you know, pull the diva stuff with, because, you know, I'm a big person on, like, I told one artist one time, I say, hey man, look, me, you, and your ego can't be in the studio at the same time. One of them gonna have to go. So if you want me to leave, you know, tell the ego, make sure they close the studio when we get done and they record you and do your beat. Because I'm not big on ego. You know what I mean? It's cool that you had your success. I respect you for that. But I treat you, whether you've done one record or you've done a million, I'm gonna treat you the same way.
Mm-hmm. Stay humble.
Right.
And it's a test of character too.
Right. So people know me. Like the very first time I met Maya, and I love telling this story. I walked in the studio and she was in the booth and she tried to do this run and it was wrong. So I hit the talk back button. I was like, yo, that's wrong. And she like kind of looked behind the mic, like, who is this telling me I'm wrong? I'm Maya. And I sung her, I said, this is how it goes. And I sung it. She's like, okay, well, I'll try it. And then she came out like 5 minutes later and she's like, so who is this telling me, you know, that I'm doing something wrong? And I was like, this Bottz. And she's like, you're D Bottz? And I was like, yeah. Oh my God, I love your production. Da 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 da. She's like, you can tell me anytime. Okay. So I'm just, you know, I treat, like I say, had she been whoever, it's wrong. You know, so I treat them all the same. You know, it's no big. I don't see status and I don't see none of that. I see music. So
yeah, music and people. It's the heart of the person. Looking into the heart of the person that matters.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So what keeps you humble?
One, I haven't won a Grammy yet. I've been nominated 3 times. I've been on the ballot 8 times. Because if you know the Grammy process, you get on the ballot, there's like, I think like 20 people each category on the ballot, and then they take the top 5, I think. So I've been on the ballot a couple times, but I've only got to the nominations at the awards like 3 times. So I haven't won a Grammy. 2, I mean, I think it's my kids. Like my kids, I think about leaving a legacy for them, something they can be proud of, and something that they can look back and, when I'm gone, they can tell their kids your grandfather was X,
a
Y, and Z.
wonderful musician.
Yeah, he produced this and he did wonderful things and he helped independent artists and, so he made people laugh. That was him. So that's it. And I've never been the big headed guy. I mean, because I don't know. I think, when you get arrogant and all that kind of stuff, that's when you kind of block your blessings. Because the humble.
Yes, you got to stay humble.
Shall eat the good of the land or whatever that scripture is, something like that.
Yep.
So,
amen.
I could never have the big head. I could never be arrogant or conceited. That's never me. That would never be me. I could have $1 million right now. And I've done podcasts with one person look at it, and I've done one with thousands look at it. I'm gonna treat it, like I said, I treat everybody the same. You know what I mean? So I just, you try to just keep moving and touch whoever you can touch in this life and, go on about your business.
Right. Well, that sounds like something that an artist can expect when they come meet you at the studio to work on a project, is that you're not going to, tell them anything wrong. You're going to tell them what they need to know. And, you're going to always treat them, with respect, no matter who they are.
Always.
That's what's up. So if there's one artist, dead or alive, that you would love to work with, who would it be?
Ooh, let's see, dead or alive. I would probably say dead, because alive, I mean, it's so many alive. I would say dead. You know who I would have loved to work with? Luther Vandross.
Oh man, Luther.
Luther was a singer. No auto-tune, no effects. Luther could just flat foot sit there. And I mean, I could make some ballads with him Luther had them women. We could do some ballads.
That's a good one right there, Luther.
My mom was a Luther fan. Every Saturday is Luther and Freddie Jackson playing on the record. I knew every Luther song by heart. So
that's good memories.
Yeah, I think he was he was a singer. And because I can play, I like singers. Not the auto-tune ones. I like the ones like Fantasia. And who else have I worked with that just can flat out sing, like Gwendolyn? And Letoya Luckett's kind of there, but I'm talking about can just sing.
Can sing. Because there's a difference between singing and singing.
There's a big difference. That's why Trick Daddy got in trouble. Because he said Beyonce can't sing, she can just sing. So you got to be careful when you say that. But Luther is just like one of my favorite songs is Never Too Much, because it's just the groove of the song, the way he wrote it, or if he wrote, I don't know if he wrote it, but the way he delivered it, that's one of my favorite records.
I really like that song too. In fact, I love all of his songs.
Yeah, Luther, man. I'm telling you, Luther was a monster.
That boy can sing. That boy can sing.
Yeah, Luther can go, man. So I would say Luther. If I had to do a second one, it would have to be Whitney Houston.
It would be who? Whitney Houston?
Yeah, it had to be Whitney Houston. I mean, it's just, that's Whitney. And who wouldn't want to work with her?
Yeah, who wouldn't want to work with her? That's a good one. Yeah. Well, you know what? I feel like you probably can sense that artist who's going to take you to the moon, like take you to that Grammy win. And is there one artist specifically that you're working with at this time that you feel like that's your special artist?
I have several. I can't just say one. I definitely think
no favorites.
I told you I treat them all the same, but if I had to, there's an artist I've been working with who's like my little sister, who's been working. I've been producing her for 15 years, named Gwendolyn. She's super talented as a writer and a artist. And the reason I'm saying her, because we could submit a song to an artist, or she could write a song that could win a Grammy, which we win the Grammy, or she could perform the song, which win the Grammy. So Gwendolyn, Brittany J out of Atlanta, she is definitely dope. I mean, still working with Raheem Devon, so maybe Raheem. Titanic can wrap her behind, though. She's amazing. She's from Baton Rouge, and she's a different wave. And she's a different female from Cardi B and Megan. You know what I mean? She raps about other stuff than just the stuff that I get tired of hearing them rap about.
Mm-hmm.
So who else am I working with right now? Lord, that could win a Grammy. Oh, Mika Morrow. Mika Morrow is a gospel artist from Baltimore. She's actually on Billboard charts right now with a song I produced for her called Survivor. So Mika could do it. That is, you never know with this climate of music, but those are a few I think could possibly, at least get on the ballot, even if they don't win. I could see them being nominated.
That's what's up. So tell us how you are inspiring us to think outside D Bottz.
Well, when you think about me, one thing people know is I'm a straight up dude. Whether you like it or not, I'm gonna tell you, what's on my mind, whether you accept it or like it or not. That's just gonna be me. You're gonna get some real stuff. I consider myself, and I pride myself on being solid.
Mm-hmm.
You can't build. I tell the people on my cookout team, you can't build solid relationships with sandy people. You think of the grain of sand. Sand, if it gets wet or whatever, it's just gonna wish away. But you got to build with solid people. And I think people realize I'm a solid dude. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. There's no hidden agendas with me. You know what I mean? I try to inspire people. I tell them, you got to laugh. I do on my podcast, I talk about mental health and just, we let so many things stress us out, and I'm actually getting ready to do a podcast tomorrow that I've been wanting to do for like a week, and it's called Check the Box. And it's going to talk about how so many people start stuff, but they never finish it. And when you think of a to-do list, you want to check that box. Because I have a to-do list every week. My assistant is telling me, hey, Bottz, you got this today. Hey, Bottz, you got this today. Did you do this? So I'm checking those boxes. She sends me a little sheet. Did you check them boxes? A text. And I check. Yeah, I checked it. So I've been waiting to do this podcast. I've just been busy, but I want to do it. I'm gonna probably do it tomorrow and air it next week. Check the box. Because it's so I inspire people. Yeah, stuff like that. I talk about real stuff, man. The stuff people scared to talk about that they ain't dealing. People. I did a mental health podcast last year. It was the biggest podcast I did for my subscribers.
Oh, wow.
And I talked about how the pandemic, you have to be mentally strong. And I gave the example, and I said, I believe, it's just my personal belief, there ain't nothing written, that stress is self-induced. Most stress, let me say it like that. And I gave the example because some people argue me, no, you can't say that. I say, I'm gonna give you an example. There are two people. You got person A and you got person B. Person A wakes up, gets ready to go to work, goes out to the garage, sees their car's tires on flat.
Mm.
They go to scream, oh my God, the devil's busy. It's work. They get on Facebook. Y'all pray for me. This day is already horrible. I'm stressed out, da-da-da-da-da. You got person B, same exact situation, wakes up, get ready to go to work, see their tires on flat, pops the trunk, gets the spare, puts the spare on, goes to work. Same exact situation, two different responses.
Without all the complaining.
Without all the stress, because all that is stress. That was self-induced. So I asked them a question. I was like, which person are you, A and B? And it was so funny. So many people said they were A, and it's like, I got to change that. Like one woman, several people actually inboxed me and was like, yo, one woman said, I've been going to counseling for like a year and you helped me in 15 minutes.
Wow.
I just, so I believe, I have a lot of wisdom that can help people. And plus I do it in a funny way. And so it's never like I'm preaching or scolding somebody. It's like you sitting at a comedy club, but I'm talking about some real stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how I inspire people to think outside the box. Think outside that norm you've been doing for years that ain't got you nowhere.
That hasn't been working.
Insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So think outside.
That's insanity.
Yeah. Think outside that box. I push the limits of the box. So I want you to get outside that little comfort zone you've been living in for 20 years and ain't got you nowhere.
Right.
So that's how I do it. It's unorthodox at times.
I love that. I love it.
Me. That is
It
me.
sounds like you are kind of like a counselor too, to a lot of people.
Yeah. I have people, who hit me, hey man, I'm going through this. Can you, what you think, and yada yada yada, what you think, and that. And I ain't got no license or nothing, but I'm just gonna tell you straight from the heart, And some people like it, and some people hate it because of the way I talk to them. They don't get the PG bots. They get the other bots, the one that can't be talking to kids and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. They want the generated bots.
Right.
But you are the real bots. You are the human bots.
They want the watered down, imitation great value Walmart bots. No, this the real deal here.
I know that's right. But yeah, you know what? A lot of people, since the pandemic has started, has been dealing with a lot of mental health. And, that's something that, we've like developed like habits, of complaining about the pandemic and complaining like, when are we going to stop wearing masks? It's like, just put the mask on and just like go about your day.
That's it.
That's self-induced.
There's nothing
stress.
you can do. This you're dealing with something that's taking people's lives, and you want to be the idiot who just wants to buck the system because you're uncomfortable, depending on what you're doing for a few minutes. You're uncomfortable for a few minutes. You know what I mean? Unless you're flying. Like flying is the only time I hate wearing a mask because you got to wear the mask the whole flight. So, but I mean, you go to the grocery store for 20 minutes, your mask is on. So what? You got to go to a restaurant. They don't even ask you to keep the mask on. Just wear it while you walk in.
Yeah, a lot of people, like a lot of places, like restaurants, some of them, they don't even have that mandate up to wear the mask. Because I know like some restaurants around where I live, they don't really have that mandate in place anymore. But I do see people wearing their masks still.
I still wear mine.
But I still wear mine too.
I take my vitamins, I drink my water, I exercise 4 times a week. I ain't getting no shot. I'm gonna do what I've been doing for the last year and a half. And I'm not a going out person. So I don't get that risk, but I do fly a lot. So that's probably the biggest risk. And before I fly, I dope up on emergency and everything else. Elderberry.
All that.
I'm sea moss. I mean, my doctor told me my immune system is on 1,000. So
it's that elderberry.
Yeah, gotta pop them too, man. All that stuff had your immune system built up. So we're getting to the end of the pandemic, and our governor is such a dummy. He made the mandate a couple months ago that he got rid of the mask. You don't have to wear them in Texas no more. Period. Like some businesses still require you to, but shoot, Abbott said nope.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think I did hear about that.
It was one of the crazy, man. People, I'm like, y'all can do what y'all want to. I'm still wearing mine.
Yeah. How did people reacted to what he said with that mandate?
Most of the people I know are responsible, a little more responsible, and got more to lose and trying to get sick. So they got kids and careers. So they're like, we still wearing ours. Like you could tell us not to wear it. That don't mean we gotta abide by it. So.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like, responsible of you to keep everybody else safe.
Right.
Because no one knows if you have it. Because some people have it, they don't even have symptoms.
My doctor told me everybody's gonna catch it. The thing is your immune system gonna be big enough and good enough to it just pass through. You don't even know you got it.
Wow.
That's what he's like, because you're gonna come in contact with it somewhere. This was last year. It's gonna be at first. Remember, they said it'll sit on a surface for 3 to 5 days, and if people like sneeze and you're gonna come in contact with it, whether it's a person or a surface. If you go to the grocery store and whoever has COVID loads your groceries, then it's on your groceries. You're not wiping your groceries down. So he's just like, you're gonna come in contact with it some kind of way.
On your doorknobs.
Right. It just that thing, man, it took the world by. I'm like, God dang.
It took the world by storm, didn't it?
Man, it was getting some people out of here. And if you made it through it, even though we're at the end of it and we're not out of it, mentally you have to be strong. Because you had family. I had family I know, Paris.
I'm sorry to hear that.
What made me do the mental health part was, I had a couple of friends and associates, they committed suicide. Like they couldn't take it no more. It was just stress.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. So
and how has that affected you?
Well, I'm not a super sympathetic person, but it made me appreciate life. Like every day I just appreciate life because, you know, there's a lot of things I've done in my life that I couldn't even be alive. I shouldn't, or maybe even make it to being my age. So just every day in the pandemic, you know, for the first 3 months of the pandemic, I closed my studio. I didn't set foot here for 3 months because it panicked the world. And hell, I panicked right with it. Well, I can't do be around my kids. Somebody come in to record it, they got it. And so I lost a little business. I didn't lose a lot, you know, still was able to pay my rent, still able to work from home a little bit. But at the beginning of the year, I was just like, I'm not letting this pandemic stop me. Like, that's when I started doing the cookout. Like, I'm going to travel and do what I had to do. And that's why it's taken off, because I took the leap of faith and just did it.
Leap of faith. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yeah, that's amazing. You know what? Seeing people die from the coronavirus and, you know, losing loved ones like you lost from the coronavirus, and, you know, also suicide too. I lost somebody to suicide last year, and this was like before the pandemic even happened. They died of suicide, and man, I just can't imagine anyone taking their own life, first of all, but you never know what pushes people to that point.
Yeah, I've had 3 since the pandemic started. And here, the last one was last month, I believe. And it was so weird because the guy had found love. He had a great relationship, so it seemed, with his girlfriend. They was always posting stuff. And even the night of his death, that he took his life, he posted a meal that she posted and was like, baby, put it down in the kitchen. And then we got the story from her, which the home cameras confirmed the story. He, after they got through eating, she was sitting in the bed. He kissed on the forehead, said, I love you, went to the bathroom and blew his brains out. I'm like, what did we miss? Like,
yeah,
you go back and look at your posts on Facebook, you so happy, and what happened? But you never know the mental demons people are dealing with.
But you know, the people that smile the most, those are the ones that suffer the most.
Right. And I tell people I'm a different breed. Like one of the people on Clubhouse called me a unicorn, because I was just talking about we were talking about the purpose of life coaches and this and that. I'm like, man, I don't need all that. Like, I'm self-motivated. I'm self-contained. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. Yeah, I'm accountable. I'm not saying I'm a rogue wave, but I pretty much know how to run my life. You know what I mean? I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm not supposed to be doing. I know when I need to do this or when I don't need to do, when to stop this, when to begin this. So, you know, I don't need nobody patting me on my back, telling me, hey, you know, go tell your kids you love them. No, I'm going to tell my kids I don't need you to life coach me to that. And he was, the dude was like, well, Bottz, everybody ain't a unicorn like you. And I was like, well, I'm a special breed because I don't believe in stress. I haven't had a stressful day in over 20 years. That is probably why I look like I look, and I'm 44. Yeah, I never had it. I had a friend who died 20 years ago. They couldn't find the cause of death. And then his mom came back and told us. She said he worried himself to death. He had a aneurysm. They didn't know it at first because it was kind of hidden through the autopsy or something, but they did some more research and basically found out his last 2 or 3 months, he was just stressing. Like, the dude that lost weight, I hadn't seen him. He had lost weight. His heart got bad, and he literally worried and stressed himself to death. And after that, I was like, never again will I stress over something, because the thing about stress, it releases endorphins in your body that are like poison. And people don't understand that. Anytime you just release something. You know what I mean? You stressing at work, stressing at home, stressing over kids. And so I just changed my view. I refuse to stress over it. And that's not to say I ain't had bills. I done had red notices, cut off notices, all that. NSFs like everybody else, same challenges. I just refuse.
Reacted differently.
I refuse. I'm person B. I'm just going to put on the spare tire and keep going. You ain't going to get no posts out of me. You ain't going to get no quotes out of me. You ain't going to see me on any social media sharing how stressed out I am. Y'all pray for me. Nah, that ain't me. And people know if I ever put something like that, they're gonna be like, "What's wrong with you, then?" Because that ain't you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And you know what? Some people. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Go ahead. I was done.
Okay. I was just going to say that, some people like yourself, are just built that way. If you come from a solid foundation, like you grew up in church, you put God first. Like if there's a problem, you take it to church, right?
Yeah. Go to God and pray. Take it all.
Yeah.
I don't know about today's church, but they doing a whole bunch of craziness. But yeah, when I was growing up, church was solid. Like it was really solid. And my grandfather was my first pastor, so I do have the growing up as a PK kind of second generation. Okay. So just put your faith in something and go about life.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. Well, it's a pleasure to speak with you and to meet you via Zoom. I know you're Zoom fatigued, probably.
Some of them have been call-in. So I did like 2 radio interviews that were call-in. So that was cool. But I have done this is 2 IG lives and I think 2 Zooms. You the 3rd Zoom and then the other 2 was like call-in. So I'm good, man. I can talk all day.
Yes. Well, I would love that, but unfortunately, we gotta go because I know we gotta go because I know you have things you have to do too, work on. So it was a pleasure to speak with you and meet you via Zoom, and it's a wrap.
Thank you. Thank you for just having me. Thank you for even considering me. I really appreciate
it. Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, D Bottz, for entertaining us today. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all follow him on IG at Bottz World Studios and take a listen to his podcast, Thinking Outside D Bottz. Thanks for watching. Bye.